Hi, everybody. Welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast, episode 145. We are back down in the basement, talk about a week's worth of wrestling and other things in the banter. Ready to banter?
Mm-hmm.
Which people you can skip the banter. Timestamps are always in the description. Use them at your leisure, right? So big news in your world is something that you are anxiously awaiting has arrived.
For like 3 years.
3 years you've been waiting, and it arrived yesterday, and it is?
My game.
Which is?
Star Wars.
What's it called again?
Jedi Survivor.
I just think of it as the backpack robot guy.
Yeah, that was the second one.
Right. So you loved that game back
that
in
was 2019.
2019.
Yeah, like November 15th.
Played the heck out of it.
Yeah, I played that like 6 or 7 times.
Like finished it?
I finished it at least like 5 or 6 times.
Right.
I think I was in the middle of a thing before the new game came out.
And so you were so confident you actually pre-ordered this one, which sometimes with WWE games is regretful, right? But
yeah, I haven't pre-ordered a wrestling game since then.
Right, you learned a
I
lesson.
didn't even pre-order this year, and 22 was good, so I probably should have pre-ordered this year, but it was more of I already pre-ordered the Star Wars one, so I was like, I'm good.
And you can wait a couple months and see that the reviews are awesome and then grab it,
Or
right?
wait a week.
Or wait a week. But yeah, so you hammered out some time on that last night and today. Is it good?
Yeah.
You're enjoying?
The story so far is like not much has happened, but the gameplay is definitely a pickup, and then it's probably long, so it'll probably get more interesting.
That's good though, right? You don't want to finish it too quickly, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. You're gonna go. Well, you got to work. That's why we're actually hammering this out back at like the old.
I'll play after work.
The original time schedule, right? Of Saturday. What is this? April 29th, somewhere around 1 o'clock in the afternoon recording. So, yeah, I guess the last thing we talked about in banter was heading off to the Niagara area for your brother's provincial basketball, Ontario Cup it's called. And how did they do?
I don't know.
They won. They won their Ontario Cup for their division. U13, so a bunch of 12-year-olds playing basketball, played great. You actually, I was going to say watched a couple games, but that's not true. We're in attendance at...
I was in attendance.
on your phone, I'm assuming, but not a basketball fan. But overall, are you going to talk about your bounty hunter purchases and figuring it out later? Or do you want to knock that off now?
Oh, I forgot I got stuff.
Because we talked about one of the reasons Jack goes, maybe the reason you go? The reason you go is on the way to...
Or hotel shower, I guess, but I could just do it.
Hotel shower, nice. Because no one's yelling at you to get out and stop wasting hot water?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you can't. It just keeps going forever.
Yeah. So, yeah, we passed on our way to Niagara. You pass a city called Hamilton. They happen to have, in a not very nice area of the town, but that's okay, a really good collectible store, right? Like all of the stuff, bounty hunter toys, it's called. I don't mind giving them a little shout out here. So they have everything from like 80s toys that I recognized a whole bunch of my stuff. I'm sure we talked about this about a year from now when we went there last time. But anyways, pretend you haven't heard it before, folks. So yeah, just I get to go and see all the nostalgia, like, oh, I had that and I had that, and some of the Star Wars figures I had, you now have them.
And those thumb wrestlers.
And the thumb wrestlers and stuff. And then a whole wall of wrestling figures, and then like buckets of loose ones underneath. And so you usually put in close to an hour in there. And now that you're collecting, they also have Star Wars figures and Marvel stuff, right? So
the Star Wars selection was really good. I finally got that Walmart Imperial crosshair that I wanted.
Yeah, that was as soon as you saw that was...
And it was only $20, which is like half of what they are at retail. Great. So I got that, and then I got a Cad Bane, because Cad Bane's sweet. And
that one was cool.
I got Kanan for my friend. And then I found this like Phantom Menace thing that was like these old figures that can talk.
Oh, weird.
They have like these chip things.
Is that the one in the box still?
Yeah.
The 3-pack?
Yeah, because it's just a cool display thing.
It is. It's like a little scene set up, right?
I got a Cena Elite, because I don't have one.
Yep.
I got a Daniel Bryan with the eco-friendly belt, I think Elite 73.
Yeah.
And then I got that Ultimate Fan Takeover Sean, I think it's King of the Ring 95.
Yeah, it's cool.
With the cool chaps and stuff.
Earrings that we thought we lost one in the hotel.
And then I got a commentary table too.
That breaks very well, you're saying.
Yes.
Good. Yeah, so you made it well. You got a bunch of stuff. Your brother got a gold medal. And I guess I did too, technically coaching it. But so yeah, it was a good weekend. The weather... Oh, yeah. What did I do that was really smart over that weekend?
What did you do?
That I had to reap the consequences of every time we got in the car.
Oh, yeah. You left the roof open.
So I have probably done this like 6 times. Not every time. Definitely a few. So Friday night, Nate had a late game. The weather was gorgeous. So we drove back to the hotel. It's like a 15, 20-minute drive with the roof of the car open. and obviously didn't close the roof, and it poured rain all night. So the car seat was dry, so it would have rained Friday night, and the car seat was soaking wet until Tuesday. Like, had to put cushions and blankets, so I'm not very smart, obviously. And I've probably left it open half a dozen times. It doesn't always rain, but that's at least the second or third time it has.
It's definitely happened before.
I think every time I walk in the house, everyone just has to go, "Did you close the roof?" That's the new rule. And even if I get annoyed, it's what's good for me, probably. But yeah,
Probably.
so overall, really fun weekend, and then just back to the normal grind of school and work, right? So nothing super exciting there,
Yeah.
I would say. So I'm ready to talk about wrestling. So I think we should do that now.
Oh, yeah, and I also got Guardians next week.
Oh, nice. Going to the movie.
Guardians 3.
Did you get tickets already?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. What day?
Thursday.
Thursday night?
Yeah, I forgot to book it off, but I don't have work.
Am I
anyway,
driving
so
you meatheads there?
Probably. I
Probably.
don't know.
Okay, it's not a problem. I can
All right.
pick up the crew. Anyways, we'll move into wrestling now, which is where we start out talking about some of the week's wrestling news and rumors. Talking about ratings first as usual, and Spring Breakin', which happy to say you watched almost all of it. Or sorry, we're in the room for almost all of it. You are aware of almost everything that happened because you were there.
I don't even know if that's correct.
That's pretty accurate. You were there for a long time.
We'll see.
Yeah, I guess we
I don't
will.
even remember.
But
Well,
anyway,
I'll remember
you
if
will.
I did.
I know you watched a bunch, at least I'll say that much. But it did really well in the ratings. So 647,000 viewers, which is up 14.5%, and a 0.18 in the key demographic, so up 28.6%. So the best audience total for the show since January 10th. That's almost meaningful. They actually went back far enough for it to be kind of meaningful, which is nice.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. That's still only a few months.
It is. And their second highest viewership of
Wait,
the
was
year to
January
date.
10th, like, was that New Year's Eve or something? Because then that would be interesting.
Yeah, that would make sense, I guess. It could have been. I know New Year's Eve, I feel like it was because I thought it was not super close to New Year's, actually. I remember thinking this isn't the closest they could have been to New Year's. But anyways.
Yeah, it was.
yeah.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. I'll allow that. It's a TV special. That makes sense then.
It does.
Okay.
And
right.
so Dynamite averaged 863,000 viewers, up a little bit, 4%, and a 0.28 in the key demo, which I happen to know is the same demographic rating for 3 weeks in a row now. So
Very
good
nice.
for them. And to be fair, being up a little and staying the same is really strong because extra tough competition. They were head to head with NBA coverage in East and West Coast time zones, so every time zone basically, and there were 2 NHL playoff games, which, I mean, will more affect your numbers in Canada, but might have had a little effect. So pretty good numbers for both of them this week.
Mm-hmm. Is that me?
That is you.
Okay, so I think it's well established here. I enjoy a wrestling belt or two.
It is true you do. Oh, we're
Okay.
starting with this. Okay.
Yeah. So the week's biggest news was that the rumors are true. We got a new world title in the house. Triple H revealed a new World Heavyweight Championship on Raw. The champion will be crowned a Night Champions Tournament unknown. Title is going to go to the brand that Roman Reigns doesn't get drafted to. Raw. Not sure if this title carries the lineage of the old title. It does not. It's a new title, later confirmed.
Right.
Definitely very big gold inspired. If you want to look at it, there's images, or you can look at the replica on the website. And it's still got side plates, so yay.
So your thoughts on the appearance?
I like the look of it. I think it looks really nice.
Yeah.
I think it's a great compromise because I think people really like the big gold, but WWE's not gonna like the brand recognition, having the big logo in the middle of a belt. They're not gonna move away from that now, right?
So yes,
I
this
think
is
it's
more
a
subtle.
perfect
Yeah.
in the middle, and it's not as big as the other belts.
Right.
I'm just happy it's a different design.
I'm leaning
think
towards liking it.
I
I'm
think
not sure.
it looks really nice. I think the existence of it is utterly stupid.
And when you told me about it, I either wasn't listening or didn't understand. I thought it was like a new design replacing one of the other ones.
There's 3 world titles, or
So-
2, but whatever. There's 3 belts.
So that makes me feel like they're going to keep both on Roman forever, maybe.
Well, and the thing for me now is, and it was pointed out to me in a video, I was like, oh yeah, that's dumb, is now it's kind of like this consolation prize, because it's like, oh, Roman can't be
Right.
bothered to
We had
defend
to
enough.
invent another
Roman's
one.
going to be off
Yeah.
for 1,000 days or whatever.
Right.
So here's another world title for you to fight over,
Right.
right? And so now, like, if you're someone like Cody, more on that later, like, no, he's not going to finish the story, he's just going to take that, or
His
like,
story takes a detour.
Like Rollins is gonna get that, or Balor's gonna get that instead. Like all these guys who couldn't be Roman, they're gonna be like, oh, I'll take this belt instead.
Yeah,
At least there will be a world champion more present, but it still feels kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of dumb when you think about it.
It's just kind of saying, I feel like the message is we're not taking these belts off Roman anytime soon. So here we'll invent one for you 1As or you A- players.
They don't
right?
have a plan yet, so
yeah, it seems. So yeah, I'm a little bit surprised. I don't.
And the draft really makes, based on some picks, it really makes me think they don't have a plan for Roman.
A perfect world for me, I think, is one version of every title, and the champions are on both shows. And then other than that, like they'll never do an actual brand split. I wish they would. I don't. That's why the draft and stuff, like, who cares? They just come and go as they please.
Stick to it.
I agree.
And they never do long enough.
And then the champions are special, and they're on both shows if the storyline works that way, right? That's my ideal.
You need to have one on, or you need to have like one title for each division. I think that makes sense.
I agree. And then you can sort of, they're
it's
on
like the
both
women's
shows.
tag titles have done that, and granted that's not a great division, but like at least they have the sense to not make that a brand exclusive title and have, other than the NXT ones, of course. But...
Right. And then you could have like Survivor Series actually mean something because they are actually only on one show each and might feel like they need to represent their show. You could have a special episode of Raw or SmackDown at some point where there's crossovers or invading, or like people are there that aren't supposed to be there. Like there's all kinds of stuff but they can't do it, right? And I don't know if it's because...
Well, they have people cross over once and they just keep doing it. And then...
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if it's because each show's on a different network, so that they might be like, listen, we want Roman Reigns on our... You know what I mean? Or we want so-and-so. It's not fair that these people are only for the... You know what I don't know.
Because they're going to keep caving to that.
That's what I feel like too. But anyways, yeah, that's an interesting development now that I fully understand it. And I guess we'll see. I hear Seth Rollins is the favorite.
Yeah, that. I'll go with that.
Sorry, go ahead.
A related news thing is my boy is our leading candidate for first champion, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
First NXT champ. So
right.
And he's every time I've done a universe mode, he's my first guy. So
nice.
When I do my own,
you've always been a fan of his.
Yeah. So I think that's cool. And the only funny thing is this is the third time they've done a WWE World Heavyweight Championship.
Right.
Because they obviously had the big gold, which was the WCW belt, which they brought in 2002.
Yes.
Then they unified that with the WWE title to create the first WWE World Heavyweight Championship. At least there was the very small distinction of the World Heavyweight title not having WWE in front of it.
Correct.
But now this title, and then the WWE World Heavyweight title that Orton unified became the WWE title we have today. It still says World Heavyweight Champion, that belt too. Mm-hmm. So now technically there's two belts that say World Heavyweight Champion.
Smart.
So
figured out WWE.
And then this is the third World Heavyweight belt in the company's existence.
So, speaking of the draft, I don't know really any details, and I'm saving it until you're going to talk about it in Highspots and Restholds, I think. So, if any of my news stories are kind of moot, I don't know if that's the right term, but anyways, because this one I'm about to say is Tiffany Stratton talked about the upcoming WWE Draft on Busted Open, I guess. She said that, and I kind of like this if she actually means it, she still needs to work on wrestling skills.
I saw that.
And that, she'd be...
I haven't seen her called up today, and I know some people are only eligible for the yesterday's SmackDown.
Right, so Raw.
And some are like, for example, Roman and Sikoa got drafted, but the Usos are only eligible for the next night on Raw. So like people are like, ooh, they're going to get split or something.
Oh, well. So yeah, she was saying, she kind of hedged her bets, right? Saying she'd like to stay in NXT to continue developing, but if she got called up, she's ready. So I like she probably is ready by what
self-awareness.
Yes, by what they asked them to do on main roster, but she could be so good. So a little more seasoning I'm fine with.
Some of the call-ups I am surprised by, but that's for later.
I'm excited to get to those. You'll get my real reactions because I don't think I've heard any other than you just told me Apollo Crews is one. That's all I know, I think. And that doesn't really matter to me too much.
Did he lose or beat Dabba-Kato? I don't even remember. I don't think he's been around since that.
I think he lost to Dabba-Kato.
Which I guess that
makes sense. Yeah. Your turn.
Oh yeah, so CM Punk was backstage at Raw, my fella.
Right.
He spotted talking to a few guys. I think like he talked to Miz, some other people. He talked to Triple H too, but then he was asked to leave and he left pretty quick.
I heard it was Vince that asked him to leave as well.
No incident, yeah. So that's interesting. It was in Illinois, so I think it was in Rosemont or something.
Yeah.
Not far from Chicago.
So I feel like
he got on the same flight as them after he had the meeting with Jericho, and
I feel like it's Punk just wanting to get talked about again. But I was not a fan of Punk even before. Like, as soon as he came to AEW, I was like, listen, I'm not the biggest fan of him, but people love him and he can have good matches and stuff, right? So this just feels like he hasn't been talked about for a few weeks or whatever and decided he needed to be. I don't know. But like, he has been talked about, though, right? Because his return is imminent, apparently.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I'm going back to NXT where the Dyad, which I had to write their names down, Rip Fowler, who is Gibson, right? And Jagger Reed, who is Drake. So they did request their releases, but they apparently, because I've been seeing them on NXT every week, right? They were denied after requesting to be released. Apparently, they become free agents in October, and obviously they're going somewhere else if they don't want to be in WWE.
I don't know where they're gonna go. Maybe like Progress or WXW. I figured they would go back to UK. I don't know if they would.
You won't like it, but they could go to Impact and just be dominant there, I feel like.
I guess.
At least I'd get to see them. So we'll see, because I like both of them, right? And I think they're a really good tag team that is completely being misused and mispresented in NXT. So hopefully they'll move to something better. What else you got, sir? I got like 4 more. Quick ones, though. None of them are long.
So Bad Bunny is going to wrestle again.
Mm-hmm.
Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest in a street fight at Backlash, which is in Puerto Rico.
Sounds great.
Yeah. And also
I mean, he'll get a big reaction.
One thing worth noting is that the draft picks take place or like go into effect after Backlash.
Oh, okay. So that's a bit of time
May
before
8th,
May 8th.
Yeah.
So weekish, yeah. Just a match announcement I'm excited about. We're gonna get a rematch of Omega versus Vikingo for AAA Triple Mania. So that means I might have to check that out to watch that, because Omega won, right? I would think Vikingo.
Wait, that's July 15th, right?
I don't know.
I swear.
You could be right. Feels like something you would know.
I could be confusing it with the Calgary Dynamite, but I swear I saw that was too.
So I would assume Vikingo's going to retain his championship here, but I don't know for sure. But anyways, that's definitely a match I will probably go out of my way to find and probably make you watch as well.
Yeah, it's the same day as the Calgary Dynamite.
Interesting.
I guess Omega's not on Dynamite then.
Doesn't sound like it.
Last one is Madcap Moss quietly reverted back to Riddick Moss.
I saw that.
WWE.com.
Good for him, because Madcap Moss is not cool.
Yeah,
I agree.
I mean, I don't really think he's doing anything at all.
He's not, but he's got a look they love, and he's fast for that big man.
Yeah, but he's not that good.
He's not. He's okay though. He's not, like, considering what they ask talent to do on main roster, like, he's fine.
Yeah.
He's not gonna have an absolute classic probably anywhere, but
No.
good wrestlers can probably elevate him in a match. He's good enough.
He just needs an actual gimmick now.
Yeah.
Ever since the Happy Corbin thing ended, like, he's just been serious, and that's his thing. His gimmick was that he didn't really have a gimmick.
Right. It seems like it. I have 3 more quick ones. Apparently, Elevation is going to be gone from AEW, which...
That's fine. We don't need 2 dark shows.
The joke was Tony Khan loves to make announcements, but didn't want to even... Like, this one's... Nothing's been said anywhere. It actually came from... I think Fight TV noted that the series is coming to an end. It wasn't even from AEW, really. So I'm okay with that. I don't watch it. They've got all kinds of stuff and more TV time coming, right? On Saturdays, I think it is, for 2 hours. So, we buried the big news. Did you hear who caught the wrestling bug and would love to come back and contribute to WWE's women's division?
CM Punk?
Nia Jax. She caught the wrestling bug again there. So
this is why you don't bring people back in the Royal Rumble, okay? That's why you don't do this.
Well, I imagine she would love the paychecks again, right? Whether it's wrestling or not.
Yes, I would love for her to injure half the roster.
Exactly.
I would love that.
My final piece of news. Guess what is the top selling merch for the 3rd week in a row in WWE? Did you see this?
No, I did not.
What's the top selling merch? A faction.
Judgment Day?
No.
Bloodline.
No.
Maximum Male Models.
No, but similar level.
Okay, no, I got this.
Fairly recently formed faction.
I know I got this.
That is
OC?
No, hearkening back to
LWO.
Correct.
Oh, okay, that makes
selling
sense.
a lot of merch, I guess.
That makes sense.
I haven't really seen much.
I'm pretty sure Legado del Fantasma's dead. I think they're just LWO now.
And I've heard Escobar is like pretty much enhancement talent at this point.
They've all been losing a lot,
which is disappointing.
That's
he's awesome, man.
That's just their whole thing right now.
I think he is like star quality, and I think they're missing the boat on him. But anyways, That's it for news. So I guess we'll get into our in-depth review of the week, and that is taking a look at this past Wednesday's episode of AEW Dynamite. All right, tell me about this week's Dynamite. Started out hot.
So we open a show with Orange Cassidy versus Bandito for the leveled up AEW International Championship.
Level, you gotta say that, right? Just to spite me. So I was pretty excited for this match, but I think it points out an issue with AEW before we get into the match. It's like, when's the last time you saw Bandito, right? Exactly.
Last thing I remember is he lost to Ethan Page.
So they go from like a hot signing to like off TV for weeks, if not months. So, and Bandito's awesome, but like...
That's why I think they should split the roster. Like I
agree.
And I think Tony Khan would have the foresight to do it right, because for a few reasons. Because one, he'll actually do it. If he's gonna do it, he'll actually do it.
Better chance.
Two,
at least.
I think the second show will also be on TNT, and that's not gonna because TBS TNT is like this basically the same.
Correct.
Right? That's why they switch. Like, so there's not gonna be like this. Oh, we want MJF.
Right.
No, we want like it'll be fine, right? So I think that should. I just don't want it to be on Saturday, because then we can't really talk about it. And
we just have to talk about it the next Saturday.
But like that's just, I don't like that. I want us to be able to like do like the week stuff, all in one go. That'd be like
it's exactly Smart Wrestling Fan, because they do the same. Our format I've borrowed heavily from them, and that's their thing too. Is they're always getting, so they end with Raw, so then they're always starting the next week with Dynamite and going from there. So they're always, that's what similar what we would be.
Yeah,
it's because the last thing they end up covering is Raw, because they just watched it. I think they record Monday nights, but anyways, we'll figure it out.
Also, I don't want to. I would love it if it just replaced Elevation.
Yeah,
that'd be nice.
I agree, and I don't know. And
obviously, it depends.
I guess they've already sort of split with Ring of Honor, but which I keep forgetting about. I did watch the opening match. It was Athena and Lady Frost, and it was actually pretty good. Lady Frost looked better than usual, I thought. But anyway, sorry. Dynamite, Bandito, Orange Cassidy. Tell me about it.
Like Cassidy's millionth defense.
Yes, and he's still sort of selling the hand, right? It's still taped.
He's like wearing himself out, kind of, right?
Exactly. He's taken on all these challenges and sort of not allowing himself to recover, I guess, is part of the built-in story here.
So there's a hands in pocket hurricane from Cassidy, then a dropkick to send Bandito out of the ring. Bandito caught Cassidy in fireman's carry from the suicide dive, and then he dropped him face first over the barricade. Bandito then was applying a Brock Lock with the arm trapped.
Yes.
And that's the only name for that move.
Stretch muffler.
No, Brock Lock. That's so much better.
He invented it?
Yeah, I've literally never seen it.
He's literally the only person to ever do it.
He's the only person to ever do it
until Bandito right here.
Bandito's a huge Brock Lesnar fan.
Makes sense. He does have similar power somehow, despite being 1/3 the size.
It's literally only because of Brock Lesnar that he's strong. Bandito counters a tilt over DDT into like a vertical suplex. Then there's delayed avalanche vertical suplex or superplex.
He's so strong.
From Bandito, he caught a diving crossbody and then moved him into a military press slam with one arm. Then Cassidy won with the beach break.
He did. Kind of. I can never get tired of watching Bandito's feats of strength. He's ridiculous. I enjoyed this match. I think it was a good match. I liked it being the opener, but I'm sure, knowing both of these guys well, there is another gear, right, that they can get into. But I don't even care if they save that gear, because there's no build to this. We don't know anything about Bandito. It's literally just like you pick two characters from the main screen in a video game and they're having a match, right? So
that's what I do most of the time in the universe.
Cool power displays from Bandito. Cassidy does his usual thing, but and another like quality defense for Cassidy. I think they said he's got 20 title defenses.
Wow.
Which I wrote that down. I'm pretty sure they said that. So yeah, I like the match. These two are definitely capable of a barn burner, and this wasn't it, but it was a good wrestling match.
I thought it was a solid opener. Cassidy has another good TV match, although I agree, I think it could have kicked in a higher gear, but I think it's still good for what it was.
Yep.
Bandito, some really cool stuff as always. But I feel like we could have had a more back and forth at the end.
I think so too.
Cassidy always edging out a win. It kind of felt lame here, because it's just like he got his ass beat, then beach break, but you can also argue kind of works with the story they're trying to tell here.
Yes.
He's wearing himself out with all these defenses, and he's going to have to keep like barely getting by.
Right, and it lets the other person get in a ton of offense, right, and look good, and then he wins.
I don't know. It just looks kind of weird. Like he just wins like that.
Yeah, Bandito didn't take a ton of punishment, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I don't know. I'm hoping he loses it soon because
I'm ready for somebody. Not that he hasn't done well.
I think this is a good run for the belt, but I don't know. I think they could have someone else do it now. I just don't know who you want to like, because I feel like now Cassie's earned like a meaningful defeat.
Yes, like an actual story and a feud building to him losing.
Right, and also someone worthwhile, like someone actually being the champion, like Jay White or something.
Cole.
Like, but Jay White's foreign.
True.
Like,
yeah.
You know?
Oh, you need hope for the international part?
Yeah. Well, and Cole's a babyface right now.
That is true.
Until he turns heel, I refuse to give him anything.
And even when Cassidy loses, they're still that's the benchmark, right? Like 20 defenses or whatever it gets up to. He'll still be mentioned, of course, I think. So he's done a great job. But yeah, I'm ready for something fresh there as well. Jay White's not a bad idea, actually.
Next, speak of the devil, we got an Adam Cole interview. Not MJF and not Jay White. I meant you already mentioned Adam Cole, just to clarify.
I did. I feel like this is another week where Renee's really busy. I feel like I wrote Renee with a lot on my notes this week.
I don't even note that. He says he's going to go to the ring, call Jericho. If Jericho isn't a coward, he'll show him them sneaking me last week. And if he doesn't show, then he'll find him. Then Cassie and Bandito had a show of respect after. Right. Bandito sunglasses. Right. So they both come in with sunglasses. And Cassie asks if she's doing an interview on them after their match, and she says she was talking to Cole and figuring out the situation from last week. Cassie just says, "Oh," and walks away, and then Bandito copies him too. So I actually thought that was kind of funny.
I chuckled at that comedy bit as well. So
I actually thought that was funny.
There's something about them as a combination that is pretty amusing. There was audio issues at the start of this, right? Like we didn't even hear the question really, and I don't think it was just us. I think it was AEW had audio issues. So, but yeah, I like this just because it's fired up Adam Cole, which is like closer to his heel persona, which is we both like much better. Not that he's not a good face, but so yeah, this was good. And yes, I laughed at Cassidy and Bandito, so I feel like maybe keeping them together somehow and see if there's any legs to that combination.
It'd be interesting to have him at least like affiliate with the best friends a bit.
Yeah,
I don't know. It was funny, and it would get him on TV.
Right.
Even best if it's friends comedy, are a fairly common presence. Yeah, I would say that's the word I was looking for.
And I know I come across as anti-comedy sometimes. I'm not. It just has to be an appropriate level and not stupid.
It was just, this was like, well, it was kind of dumb, but like not like,
no, it was funny.
Not outright stupid.
It was amusing.
It was just kind of dumb funny. Like,
yep.
Like in Mando when Grogu's piloting IG-12 and he just keeps smacking the button to say yes, like that.
Yes.
That's just hilarious.
Good stuff.
I was talking to Hancock about it. I love that so much.
It was funny.
It's so dumb.
Like, yeah, I agree.
I don't know. That's perfect humor for me. But anyways, next we got Darby Allin and Jungle Boy interview with
Renee.
All right. There's like one with RJ City, but he doesn't really do a whole lot.
No, he does not. It doesn't last long.
Darby's asked for this, and he said they don't have to like each other, but they should respect each other. And maybe they said some things last week they didn't mean. He mentioned how Guevara cheated to win last week, and if he knew that was happening, he wouldn't have watched from the rafters. And he said if Jack cares about any of this, he should have his back tonight as he's facing Guevara in the finals of this tournament.
Quote unquote.
And Jungle Boy said he wishes it was the two of them out there tonight because he would have won again. And Al said he would have beaten him, so they both think they would win, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Jungle Boy wasn't so sure about it, and Darby said he'll see him later.
Yeah,
he will.
That classic enemy of my enemy is my friend stuff, I guess, right? Basically, and that I'm fine that there's tension between basically every combination of the pillars, I guess. Like MJF and Sammy are obviously best friends, quote unquote, right now, but like I think we all can see where that's gonna go.
They're gonna get married. No, wait, a commitment ceremony.
That's right. So even the two baby faces have a little bit of issues with each other, and that's fine, because MJF is such a dominant heel.
Well, I really enjoy the whole thing because both alliances feel realistic and they both make sense. Like when we were talking about this after MJF and Sammy segment later on, that like that whole thing makes sense because they're both trying to get something out of that, right?
Yes.
And they're both kind of like playing each other for that, and I think they both know that. And then that alliance has kind of necessitated this one, right? So I kind of like, and I like that Darby, like, even though they're both baby faces, they're not like all just like let's work together. They're both like, I don't like you still, right? So
not only like we're not friends, I don't think we'll ever be friends.
right,
But
the realism of this, which I think they've done a pretty good job of in the storyline.
like it.
I really enjoy
Me too.
because I think it all makes sense.
And you're clearly getting your dream of the 4-way match. We'll get to there.
It's never not going to happen.
No, you're right. I think you're right.
It has to happen
Because it's kind of like, and you, I think, I feel the same way, but you represent it and feel more strongly that like you can't sort of give us a glimpse of that 4-way and then expect us to be excited when it's one-on-one.
Yeah, you can't throw them all together in multiple segments for weeks without like putting a 4-way
You
together.
can't unring that bell, as they say.
Yeah, there's only one way this goes now.
It is, I think so.
Next we have Dax Harwood versus Jeff Jarrett brackets in 2023.
In 2023.
Just to clarify.
Let me tell you, in my notes, there is a 2023 coming up. I do.
Me too. I got it again. That's not the only time I mention it.
Of course.
There's a shoulder tackle by Jarrett, and then they kind of botched the second one. Like he just didn't really hit Dax, and like,
it was weird. Dax is usually pretty flawless.
Yeah.
So let's blame Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah. Yeah. I will. Diving headbutt by Dax for 2. Which is the best move in wrestling.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
There's no repercussions to that.
No,
Nothing bad. What's the worst that could happen?
What? Name one even remotely horrible thing that's come of a diving headbutt. I don't know. Chris Benoit was all chair shots. He didn't even use a diving headbutt, right?
And I was just telling you how Kurt Angle said that unfortunately deleting Chris Benoit is like deleting half of Angle's greatest matches.
Right.
He's like probably 5 of my 10 greatest matches were with him.
At least he's got like
and they're
Mon Shikells
deleted.
And
right.
That's the only other one I could think of actually.
Angles.
Maybe a Lesnar match, the Iron Man match from SmackDown. Anyways. Jeff Jarrett was probably still good in that time.
I'm just gonna say the segue is back to like someone from that era, right?
Well, actually, Jeff Jarrett was probably lording over TNA at that time. It would have been like a year old.
That will come up in Highspots and Restholds.
Oh, fine.
Him lording over TNA a little bit.
Oh, well, that's
look forward to that.
That's swell.
We call that a teaser in the business.
Jarrett catches a diving shotgun dropkick, goes for figure 4. Dax fights it off. Jarrett catapults him in the turnbuckle, rolls him up for 2.
The catapult was weak.
Yeah.
Looking.
Dax comes to figure 4, attempting a small package for 2. Dax goes to suplex Jarrett from the apron back in the ring. Sante Dead does like the trip, and then he holds his feet down. Like I think it was what Bobby Heenan and Rick Rude did that to Warrior at Mania 5.
That's right.
But Dax kicked out. Therefore confirming Dax Harwood is more powerful than the Ultimate Warrior.
100%.
That is what this confirms. Then the finish comes when Dax chases Dud around the ring, which is always a smart idea for a dumb babyface.
True. Good point.
And then when he gets back in the ring, Jarrett hits a stroke, and Jeff Jarrett has now beaten Dax Harwood in 2023.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it just looks like Jarrett can't, like, he's in great shape. No doubt about it. I'll start with that, but he's 50, whatever we looked it up, early 50s. So he can't really deliver much anymore, or I don't think take much complicated offense.
I like what you were saying when we were talking about it in the moment, that like he's kind of circled back around to not very good.
Circled back to like doing all of the basic beginner stuff.
Right.
Like wrestling 101. So shoulder block.
Circle of life.
So what are my notes here? Arm drags, shoulder tackles, and body slams from Jarrett. Sweet. Right. So it's pretty basic stuff. And then he struts and does his heel stuff, which is fine. But there's just so many other people I'd rather watch in 2023. It looks like, you even noted too, like you said, it looks so slow. It's like if you're wrestling underwater, you know, when you used to like wrestle around underwater in the pool, like that's what it looks like.
Minus the floating.
Just you've reduced it to like 65% speed somehow. So his movements are just kind of slow, and Dax is an awesome wrestler, but I still thought that this was just okay, right? And you basically had one of your tag team champions who you just heralded coming back, and it was a big deal. I know losing clean is a strong word here, but it's close to it.
Yeah, because like
there was nothing he was going to get DQ'd for.
Yeah, and there was, I guess, he got ejected at the most, but like he didn't like clock him with the belt or anything.
So I thought this was like basic, nothing more than solid. If you want to say solid, I thought, you know, I guess I kept my interest, but there's a lot of things I'd rather see.
You're playing fast and loose with that term.
I guess so.
Yeah, this was kind of boring. It was like it was just a lot of basic action at a slow pace, and it was definitely one of Dax's lesser matches. And I'd place that mostly on Jarrett because Dax can have a great match with the game opponent, which Jarrett is not.
He was
in
like
this day and age.
There was nobody better than Dax for the first half
like
of 22.
He faced like Ospreay,
Omega, maybe. I don't know, maybe not. Omega might have been hurt.
Osprey,
Other
Pac,
people.
Pac, that was
Yep.
one of them.
Yeah.
There was more.
There was.
There
I'll look
was
it up. You
more.
keep talking. I'll see if I can find it.
I swear he faced someone in the. Oh, him and Cash had a pretty good match. I don't think
Oh,
that was
yeah.
one of like the best ones. I know there's better ones, but like, and so yeah, when someone like Jarrett's not great, the finish was kind of lame as well. Jeff Jarrett should not be being Dax in 2023 or challenging for the tag titles as many times or at all, because if he and Lethal face FTR, they've challenged the previous 3 tag champs. FTR,
Danielson.
Yes.
Danielson and
But did he face Punk?
And
I feel like he
Dax.
faced Punk.
I think he might have as well.
Then they'll have faced FTR, Guns, and the Acclaimed, and they faced the Acclaimed twice too. So
Correct.
that is brutal. You find anything else?
No, that's it.
Right. I swear there was more. I'm gapping right now.
But yes, Punk Harwood 2022. So that's Punk, Danielson. Like he had a whole bunch of.
I remember the Danielson one being good.
Did he wrestle Takeshita?
I don't.
Just because we would have loved that,
know.
I'm sure.
I'm looking back.
I don't think so.
I'm looking back now.
No.
There's one from New Japan. So I'm just like this. Okay, so I found the Osprey one, so that's good. Oh, he faced Cole in the Owen Hart tournament. That was probably good. I don't know. I have honestly forgot about it. So he lost to Punk. I forgot him in FTR. This is so funny now. I think it was when I don't remember why. I don't remember if Moxley was the mystery opponent, but FTR. Remember once they faced Moxley and Punk teaming together?
Right, I do remember
That's so
that.
funny now.
Yes, best buds.
Oh, the bestest of friends. Yeah, so he faced Pac. I'm not finding anything else that I don't remember.
Oh, and then he had tag matches against the Briscoes that were phenomenal.
I swear he had more like singles matches that we really liked though.
Anyways,
like because I remember like we were like really loving.
Oh yeah, I was
it,
like, if we voted right now,
he had a good one with Lethal.
He might be my wrestler of the year.
I think pre Jarrett Lethal.
Yes,
back when Lethal happy Lethal. What? Oh, Wrestle K Super Show, which I think is one of those like convention ones or whatever. He beat Mike Bailey.
Like Bailey.
Like a 20-minute match too.
That'd be cool.
That sounds good. Anywho,
back to the show.
Tony Khan has one of his infamous announcements.
Yep.
So they're doing the Owen Hart tournament again. So they're gonna have the opening ceremony at Double Nothing, which is ironic because last year the finals were at Double Nothing, but whatever. It will be featured at Forbidden Door. I think he mentioned something New Japan, so maybe they'll have some New Japan talent in there because Owen Hart was in New Japan a bit. So
that's
and
cool.
The finals are gonna be on July 15th on Dynamite, which is in Calgary.
Yep. My only note was Owen Hart thing in Canada, so that's cool, I guess. Yeah, Canada. Hooray!
Good for us. Someone else does another person get? Do they also get a meaningless title belt that looks kind of big?
I don't know. Do Cole and Britt have to give up theirs?
That's another good question. They have to defend their title against the winner.
Create new ones.
Yeah, just make another belt. Just
infinite belts.
Make the same belt. Just give it to another person. And like then like Cole and Baker will have the same belts.
Be like the Masters when you win, they put the green jacket on you. I think the previous year's winner puts because the green jacket is their like big thing for winning the Masters.
Oh, so
sports.
Give the belt to them.
Like they have to put it on the new ones.
Oh, but that's embarrassing.
And then if it's heels, you could build a feud out of it. Anyways, keep going.
Yeah, just like
take forever.
Hit him with the belt. Wardlow is defending his.
I still don't know who it was he faced.
Against a jobber. I don't know either. I don't think it matters.
It doesn't, but I'm curious. You talk. I'll see if I can find it.
There's a headbutt and the wind-up clothesline from Wardlow. 4 power bombs got the win. Then Arn spoke after. He was talking about why they're affiliated, which he didn't really explain. He was just like, "Oh, people are wondering about it." He talked about him being Hobbs, who's one hell of a man. He said Wardlow is AEW's dynasty. No. He says Wardlow can put AEW on his shoulders and take them in the next millennium. No. But sometimes they may have to get rough. Then Cage and Luchasaurus come down at the end of the ramp and have a stare down. Because I assume Luchasaurus is going to win the title.
Yeah. I don't kind of felt like they've reset Wardlow and he's back to beating jobbers. Like
it's so weird.
We did this already. You built him into a monster. You put him in a really good feud with MJF, and then it's like you abandon him for a bit, right? So it's kind of like They put him in the freezer, and now they're thawing him out.
This build a good title reign? How? This is the title defense.
I'm definitely less interested in him than I was. And this match doesn't help, right? He just beat a
care
jobber
about
in a
him
minute.
anymore, yeah.
And I do think he can benefit from having a mouthpiece. I don't know if Arn's the right choice, right? He did stumble a couple times here, I thought, speaking.
Yeah, I didn't love it.
But I get the idea that he's trying to have Wardlow have more of an edge, right? Like what's holding you back is you need to be dirtier or willing to cheat or whatever. I don't know what it is, but and then why does Christian walk all the way there, say nothing, and then just back away?
Is he a dinosaur too?
I don't know. So that was strange to me. They didn't say anything. Like, should he and Luchasaurus be afraid of Arn Anderson, I guess? Or is it just...
pull out the Glock.
I guess the classic answer is mind games, right? Mind games.
So.
Yeah. So fine, whatever.
Yeah, it was lame. Just another Wardlow squash. It does such a disservice for the title. Like, just how can it be important if it's being defended in constant squash matches?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, I don't get it.
Me either. And why does was that a title match? Why does that guy get a title shot, first of all?
I don't know. That's worse than Cassie just taking on whoever, because at least he takes on people we know.
Yes.
I could not care less about him and Ard. Like, I didn't love the promo. It just felt kind of random and pointless. And then I guess Cage is at least somewhat credible, but I would like Luchasaurus.
The best I could find here is 411 has him as Tony Acero, maybe. Like the best I could get. The John report was like some guy with no chance, and this is on 411, and it just says Tony Acero, maybe. So there, we tried to give him credit for his work. We tried.
Work.
Next
we get Sammy Guevara interview, which is probably one of my preferred segments on the show.
With who?
His best friend, MJF.
No, but who's interviewing?
Renee.
There you go, Renee. Give the Canadian girl credit.
So then MJF came in, he kissed Sammy on the forehead, and then Sammy did the same. Then MJF said he gets to avoid a four-way match while Sammy will get a big fat check as part of their deal. Sammy gave MJF a matching vest, and then MJF gave him a Burberry scarf, and they hugged, and then they kept kissing each other on the cheek too.
You know what just hit me that this reminded me of, and maybe why I liked it so much? Think of our favorite show, The Office. What does this kind of remind you of?
Dwayne Andy?
Yeah.
Oh,
right,
yeah.
when they're like, they want the other person to owe them a favor, so they're like doing ridiculously, and you can see right through it and whatever, you should be able to. So it sort of reminds me of that, right? Like they're almost playing chicken with the other as to who loves the other one more in this new friendship that is suddenly so strong, right? So I thought this was amusing because neither of them are being sincere, and we all know that. But and is Sammy just out of Jazz now?
I don't think so.
I hope so.
I would hope so, but I don't think so.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I thought this was amusing. The relationship between these two guys is funny to me right now.
Yeah, I loved it. I find it very amusing. I think it's funny because, like you said, they're both full of crap. But they're just overcompensating to get what they want out of this, and I think it'll create a unique dynamic in the inevitable four-way. And nobody can tell me that there's not going to be a four-way.
There is,
because that's not
the
possible.
lead-up's coming to it, right? So it's for sure happening.
I refuse to accept that there's no four-way. Then RJ said he teased up the main event with Omega to catch the teaming.
Tries to.
The Blackpool just flattened him.
Yep, which is a good role for him. Another good Canadian boy, I'm pretty sure.
Is he?
Yep, Canadian actor and professional wrestler.
Nice.
He is.
How come he doesn't wrestle anymore?
I don't know. Maybe he will. His pictures, he looks pretty ripped.
Yeah, he's been doing that AEW morning show.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Next we get Darby Allin versus Samuel Guevara, and MJF is on commentary promoting his limited edition pickle jars, which I think was pretty funny.
Lot. Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah. He finds ways to like bring it back around to the pickles quite a few times. Yeah.
There's the big springboard moonsault to the outside from Guevara. Guevara caught a suicide dive with a cutter, which I think he's done before, but
looked good.
I like it.
Like the thud it made on the floor was awesome.
Darby went for a coffin drop, but Ty Mello distracted him, and Guevara hit an avalanche smash fly for a near fall. Perfect 630 senton to a table to the outside.
Nailed it.
The finish came when MJF tossed the skateboard to Darby, and then Guevara dropped down, did the Eddie Guerrero thing, and successfully got Darby DQ'd.
Which never happens in AEW, right?
Yeah.
Like you can probably count on one hand the DQ wins there's been in 3 or 4 years or whatever. Yeah.
Then MJF and Sammy attacked Darby more until Jung Boy made the save with a chair. And Tony Schiavone and a mic, he stood up at the announce table and told MJF to shut up because he's a prick. And Giovanni said that Sammy has earned his title shot at the Double or Nothing because he won the tournament. And he said that next week there's going to be a tag match with Jungle Boy and Darby against MJF and Sammy. And if the faces win, it's a 4-way. If the heels win, they keep the one-on-one match.
So Jack gets what he wants.
So we get a 4-way.
Is the bottom line.
So I thought it was a pretty good match. It felt kind of short.
Agree.
But some of the spots are cool, and
yes.
I thought it was still good. And they always work well together. I just thought it was a little underwhelming compared to their previous encounters. But 4-way, so yay. DQ finish might be lame for some people, but it benefits the storyline, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah. And as soon as I saw the placement of this match, I said to you, like, oh, this is a screwy finish for sure.
Well, I figured also once we had shenanigans
event.
last week with MJF, he would have to do it again, because then that's the only way that you can facilitate the 4-way.
Yeah, I thought the pace was a bit slow to start, but then, yeah, like you said, there were a lot of cool spots that these guys nailed. So I enjoyed it. I don't love the finish, but it was kind of predictable. I figured that's what we were getting, and it is part of the story they're telling, so I don't mind it. It's just not the most satisfying. And I thought the promo post-match was kind of amusing, and my last note is Jack gets his 4-way match, obviously.
Hooray.
So, yeah.
Then I think it was after a commercial break, maybe. MJF was getting in a limo. It's full when Sammy tried to follow him.
It's clearly empty.
When it was empty. The camera literally did a pan over. So that's kind of like sowing the seeds for a kid. Like, they probably will get along.
Yeah,
great
it's the first little break in, like, oh, we love each other so much, and it's like,
yeah, but now that MJF like has the potential to like get, or like there's the potential like that there'll be an actual title defense. He's kind of loses his grip on this.
But you think you'd still want to keep in, like, so then it's at least two of them against two of the faces sort of thing. But yeah, you can see there's foreshadowing of a probably pretty obvious split coming. But again, obvious doesn't mean bad, and predictable doesn't mean bad, right? Sometimes the swerve is worse than making it predictable.
Right.
And that's the problem WCW ran into. Swerve for swerve's sake, and it was way too often.
Next we get Adam Cole calling out Jericho. He calls out Jericho initially to no avail, then Jericho's music hits, and as Cole's about to leave to go find Jericho appears on the Tron saying he doesn't want to be near Cole in the ring because he's a disgrace, but his boys will be, and Jazz attack Cole in the ring instead. Bandito and Cassidy get beaten down as well, which I like because Cassidy did hear about the situation. Just remember when he asked Renee, so I like the callback there.
He knows what's going on.
But they got beaten down as well until Roderick Strong makes the save and he fights off everyone. Like, what?
Yeah, it's like
they genuinely caught me off guard with this when I saw, because
he made a very silent exit from NXT.
No news broke about it at
Nothing.
all. Like, you could have told me you were still injured a way to come back, and I would have believed you.
In fact, the guys from Poison Rana that I listen to, they'll always be like, not always, but sometimes, like, this would be a logical spot for Roddy to come back and do this, right? Assuming that he's just been injured or whatever, but he's gone. So, yeah, I thought...
Yeah, and they signed him now, so...
Cole's a good actor, right? So I thought the beatdown of Britt last week looked really good. So, like, his anger and rage is justified here, and he does a really good job with that. And then I'm happy to have Roddy back, too, because I think he's awesome in the ring.
I love Roddy.
And putting him with Cole means Roddy doesn't have to talk, which, unfortunately, he should not. He's had 20 whatever years, and he's not good on this mic.
So now we need Kyle O'Reilly to heel, and then we need Bobby Fish to re-sign, because now we could do the whole thing.
Get the band back together.
And they could fight Blackpool.
So as we go through this show, I'm realizing, like, I enjoyed a lot of segments, but not a lot of matches, is what it's feeling like. But then that's leading into the next segment. So
then you got to start doing faction wars. You got to do Elite.
I'm fine.
Undisputed Era.
I love a good
Blackpool. That's it.
Jazz.
Okay, so just those three.
Matt Hardy's group. QTV.
So Blackpool versus Elite versus Undisputed Era versus QTV versus Jazz versus Best Friends versus Death Triangle versus House of Black versus
Pac? Where's my boy
versus
Pac?
the Varsity Athletes, right?
Yes, correct.
Versus the Firm, versus the Trust. But no, wait,
the
they're Varsity Athletes versus the Embassy, the Mogul Embassy.
Correct.
Okay.
Sorry, my mistake.
Okay.
Correct.
Just make sure you get that right.
Yep.
Right, and then like, I don't know, Air Fox and Top Flight, I guess, and then I know Leon Ruff and Bear County were teaming, so you could do them, or the Iron Savages or whatever they're called now.
I haven't seen.
Why did I remember that?
I don't know.
I'm just gonna quit. Next we get QTV. So QTV or QT Marshall was talking about how it's been a rough week for them. Then Hobbs came in, threatened him because he lost the title. He's all mad.
Pinned him to the wall with his forearm on his throat.
Marshall says he'll be champion again. They're going to Plan B, whatever that means.
Yeah, you weren't a champion. What is it? You weren't a champion when you joined us or whatever?
Arnie wasn't a champion until QT came in because QT helped him win, remember?
Yeah, so I just don't care about this, and it wasn't long, so I guess that's the best thing I can say, but it's just not useful. I don't.
Yeah, at least Hobbs is menacing here.
Yeah,
but QTV is still a waste of space. So I'm hoping this is the beginning of the end. But the Plan B thing makes me think, oh, we're still going.
Yep, I agree. I don't want to see it, but we're gonna get it. I think.
Next we get Jade Cargill versus Taya Valkyrie for the TBS title, and Taya will get DQ'd if she uses her finisher, which is the same as Jade's.
Right, and she almost did too.
Yeah, a couple like teases.
Yeah,
which I don't know why.
Because she's not smart. She's dumb baby face too.
Yeah. Inverted DDT thing from the outside from Taya. There's a Blue Thunder bomb from Taya for 2. Superplex from Cargill. She hit a destroyer at one point for 2.
Yeah, that was new.
Finally.
Yep.
The finish came when she rolled up Taya. I think she countered Taya going for her finisher for some reason.
Right.
And she rolled it up with a handful of types for the win. Which, I don't know. This is it was alright, but it was kind of boring. I only half watched it. And I think Taya could have been the one to beat her, but this whole feud has been kind of lame. It's all been around the shared finisher too much.
I think it's continuing.
And this match was lame. Yeah, I figure it'll continue, but it's still kind of lame. Props to Jade for some new stuff, but it's kind of too little too late.
I felt similar. There were some decent moves in this. The superplex, the destroyer, which was nice to see something new from Jade, but overall, Taya looked kind of slow here, right? And I thought the first little bit felt really scripted and or rehearsed, like they'd gone through. I don't know why I feel that way, but I did. So yeah, a little different from most Jade matches because it was a little more competitive, and we did get some new offense from Jade, which is cool. And I thought so too. Taya's a person that you can build up to actually take the title off Jade, or as a credible opponent to do that, but I guess they're not doing it yet. I assume the fact that Jade won with a roll-up and not her usual dominant fashion hitting her finisher, right? It leads me to believe that we're getting more of this. So maybe Taya is the one, but I think Taya needs to be built better, and I would like Taya to look better in ring a little bit.
Agreed. This was not that.
It wasn't.
Next we get a Baker and Hayter backstage promo. Baker says the Outcasts forget what her and Hayter are capable of. She likes to think that they're fairly decent human beings unless you give them reason not to be. And Hayter said they had to resort to weapons last week, and they can injure them as many times as they would like or send them to the hospital. But they've declared war, and the only way this is over, they send them to the bloody morgue.
I thought that line was kind of cheesy.
Yeah.
I felt like Hayter's stuff, she delivered it well, but it felt like WWE adjacent.
I thought it was funny because when Baker said they're fairly decent people, it reminded me, hey, they were heels for a long time and had a bunch of shenanigans. So,
right.
No.
Right. So, yeah, I don't know. I thought they did a good job delivering. I didn't love some of the stuff that was written for them, if that's the case, or if they ad-libbed it. I don't know. Kind of cheesy lines, but
yeah,
Hayter sounded good.
But, yeah, they spoke well, so it was solid. Then we get a BC Gold promo package. White was talking about his debut. Juice said they're going to kick ass or something like that.
Yeah.
Juice talks money. Then Spears and Starks talk, and they said they're no friends, but they have a common enemy, and they're going to take care of it or something like that. I thought it was fine. It's a fine build for a Rampage match. I heard the match was solid.
Yeah.
But I think we should start a petition to make their official faction name Bang Bang Gang.
I like that, too.
That's funny.
And I actually think Jay White and Juice are really cool together, right? But this was...
like it.
I kind of want
to
see
It's kind of
more.
A low card thing, you know?
I want to see more of them.
Yeah.
And I still feel like Spears is going to join them and turn on Starks. I don't know why I feel so strongly about this.
White pinned him.
Oh, did he? He took the pinfall.
Yeah.
That makes sense too. So yeah, I also like Bang Bang Gang. I think that's funny. And I just thought White and Juice were really cool, but it was just a super brief thing.
Mm-hmm. Next we come to our main event, which is Kenny Omega and Konosuke Takeshita versus Butcher and Blade.
You know those perennial main eventers, Butcher and Blade.
Elevating Takeshita and Omega
who
for
never
once.
ever win anything. So already on paper and the location of this, I have a problem with this. And I have no problem with Butcher and Blade, but this is not
a random Dynamite main event.
Correct.
I'd honestly rather Cassidy and Bandito main event.
Yes.
Other than the fact that it set up them saving Cole, so I get that, but just as a match.
And in theory, it should have been Guevara right? And Darby.
Yeah, then they could have had more time. And I don't really care about that DQ finish at
No.
the end because then you have like the setup for the 4-way at the end of the show.
I think it bothers more people more than it bothers us, right? Like I get it; it's part of the story.
Yeah.
But anyways, this is what we
Danielson's on commentary. Blade was like leathering Takeshita with some heavy
That's
corner
my
chops
note
at the
too.
beginning.
Yeah,
like-
he was wailing on Takeshita early on.
It was heavy. Omega hit like the fireman's carry rolling senton and the mill roll moonsault, and as he dove for the moonsault, Takeshita tagged down and hit a diving senton, so kind of a add-on there. Blade was distracting the ref after Butcher hit Omega with a running crossbody on the outside. You remember? Yeah.
There's a few times in this where I went kinda.
Yeah.
Right.
Sabian interfered and hit like a slingshot Arabian Presto Omega,
That looked
which is
good.
like that moonsault where you like kind of bounce off with your legs.
Yeah,
But
like
not like split legged.
Yeah.
Because his legs weren't split.
No.
There Takeshita hit the running leaping clothesline or the Takeshita line, that's weird. Then he followed with Brainbuster also on Butcher for 2. Butcher hit a half Nelson backbreaker to Takeshita, then a stunner from Blade, and then a running lariat from Butcher for 2. So that was a nice little sequence. Omega hit a V-trigger to Butcher, then Takeshita followed with a Blue Thunder bomb for 2. Blade broke the pin. Toby gun helo to Blade and Sabian from Omega, and then Takeshita hits the power drive knee to Butcher for the win. And then after Danielson says he sees he sees a pro wrestler in the ring who got the pin and an amateur who's riding on his legacy next to a talented prodigy who should train with the BCC.
Yeah, there's openly recruiting Takeshita at this point, right?
That'd be cool, but I don't want him in there.
No.
Danielson says last week they started something and they'll finish it this week. Young Bucks running kind of clean house. Bucks holding Mox for the screwdriver from Omega, but then Danielson kind of rolls Takeshita and Takeshi's kind of playing peacemaker.
Yeah.
Because like, don't stoop to that level, Kenny.
That's right.
And
He's a very much babyface at this point.
Blackpool take out the Elite. Danielson tries one more to recruit, but that does not work, and they low blow Takeshita and attack him with a screwdriver to end the show.
And leave him bloody and sort of stand tall, which I like.
Indeed.
I like the final image of them violently attacking somebody, right? The BCC. So, again, not exactly a main event, but a fun tag team match. I thought Kenny and Takeshita looked good, as you would expect. Butcher seemed a bit off in a couple spots to me. I thought he was taking offense weird, was what my note says. I didn't elaborate, but there was like 3 times where I was like, what's he doing? But Butcher and Blade didn't get a ton. They had that one nice sequence, I thought, that you pointed out as well. But I guess you didn't really expect that too much. It shouldn't be super competitive with Takeshita and Kenny, right? So, and I'm still really enjoying Danielson in his role. I liked him on the mic here, and I think the final images of Blackpool looking violent and dominant is good, and it's sympathy for Takeshita, right? He's there. He is getting attention. He is getting a little bit of story, so I'm obviously happy with that.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was pretty good, but kind of underwhelming. Kind of hoping the actor would pick up more, but it was good. It wasn't bad, just did not feel like a main event, like a middle of the show kind of match, even an opener, I guess. The fact that Butcher and Blade are in the main event kind of backs up my point, like you were saying earlier.
Yeah.
But I like that, like, there's still some solid action. I liked it enough. Takeshita gets some more spotlight, so I always like that, but I wish he got more of the Takeshita I like, because he can be, like, super fast and explosive when he's at his peak.
He can do it all.
The post-match was well done with Danielson. I like that, too.
Yep. Overall, like, there was no match on this show I loved. The opener was pretty good. It was probably my match of the night, I guess. And then, like, just, I always hope for something that I'm like, if you didn't see it, you have to go see it. And there was none of that, right? But segments, I liked quite a few, right? So, overall for me, I'm just kind of looking through everything. The segments bring the marks up for me. So I'm going to go a solid B here. Nothing in ring was awful. I didn't really enjoy the women's match, but I thought a bunch of the segments were pretty entertaining and little bits in between. So I'm going to go with the B this week. You?
Mm-hmm. I thought, like, the matches didn't really impress. I would agree the opener was probably the best one. And Allen and Guevara was pretty solid too. I didn't love Dax and Jarrett. Squash is pointless, and the women's was kind of boring, and the main event was solid. But I think the segments were really good. Like, Allen and Jungle Boy are pretty solid. I enjoyed Cassie and Banditos a little bit.
Their formation is intriguing to me.
Guevara and MJF was really good. Cool. Reuniting with Strong, I really liked. QTV sucked, but that's a given. I think a B grade is appropriate because it was an average show. I think.
Yep, good, not great.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that wraps that up, and we'll move into a little bit of a trivia break here, where I'll challenge Jack with some wrestling-based trivia in a segment we call Off the Top of His Head. It's very appropriate that you just grabbed a figure on your way back to the microphone here. Because
Seth Rollins.
From WWE's own website, this is their 30 greatest action figures ever. So I'm going to go through 30 to 15 this week, trying to give you hints along the way to get them. So it might take me a minute because I'm basically trying to paraphrase what they've given and take out any clear. So the first one, number 30, we'll go 30 to 15 today, and if it works, we'll go 15 to 1 next week. So it is from 1998. Okay, if that helps you.
Oh, I thought we were going like just Mattel.
No, this could be anything.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, so I know, but I'll give you hints along the way. So basically,
what they're trying to guess, just the figure,
who it is,
the person. Oh, okay.
Who it is. Okay, so they're saying that the impressive thing here is that before the head scans, that basically they think they did a really good job sculpting this person's face. Okay, came in a 3-pack, KB Toys exclusive 3-pack.
Yokozuna?
No. And they said it eerily mimics the hardcore insanity of this madman.
I remember hearing
think of 3-pack as a big okay, that is
Cactus.
Correct, Cactus Jack. So it's a 3-pack with his other alter egos, obviously.
Oh, I remember. Okay.
Yeah,
because I remember I used to watch videos about stuff like that.
So this one is from 1986, and it is a 2005 Hall of Famer, dressed in an outfit as shrill as his trademark high-pitched voice. A manager, including a pink tie, and a crimson shirt.
Oh, Brother Love.
With a white jacket, covered in oversized musical notes.
Oh, Jimmy Hart. Correct,
Jimmy, Mouth of the South Hart. 1990. So this is a much smaller hard rubber counterpart. These were the first posable superstar toys. So this person has his trademark pet with him, shall we say.
Coco?
Nope.
Eric Rowan with a spider?
No. He had a spring-loaded punch. This toy, I guess.
What the hell?
Who else had a pet? A creepy, scary pet.
Oh, Jake?
Correct, Jake the Snake.
I would have gone with Eric Rowan and a spider.
I feel like you might know this for some reason. 2002 now. Came in special packaging that looked like a Wheaties box.
No.
One of the best likenesses of him ever created. I don't want to say that. Complete. Well, comes with a gold medal and a fire hydrant.
Angle?
Correct.
I guess, yeah.
That's too obvious. 1986, another manager. Famous from the rock and wrestling era.
Lou Albano.
Correct. Very good. From 2011, Elite Series 11, a wrestler you do not like. It was released shortly after, yes, his pipe bomb. Good. 1991, colorful unorthodox tag team from a different country, not North America, we'll say even. So it's 1991, and it's a colorful, unorthodox foreign tag team.
Rockers?
Recently,
they're not foreign.
One recently died, actually.
Who just died?
They were like bloodthirsty and violent before coming to WWE, and WWE made them
Samoans?
No, like comedy characters.
Bushwhackers.
Correct.
Oh
Bushwhackers.
Yeah, of course one of them died.
2006. So this is. Sorry, just trying to pull some details here. Gloved hand to his flowing mane of black hair. Also comes with the Winged Eagle Championship. So one glove, lots of hair. Winged Eagle Champion. Nope. Big man.
Taker?
Nope. Another big man. He came from WCW. Or was in WCW. No.
He has one glove.
Okay, so keep thinking.
Sid.
No.
Diesel.
Yes.
Why did I not say Diesel?
I don't know. That's why I didn't want to give any more hints, because I'm like, you should know this. 2004 tag team, considered one of the all-time greats.
Most greatest tag team?
No.
Okay, I took it too literally.
Clad in red shoulder pads.
Oh, LOD.
Correct.
D's nuts.
2005. A trio.
Okay.
One of the most revered factions in wrestling history.
Okay. Demolition.
Famous for having their own tag team rules.
Oh, Freebirds.
Correct. The Fabulous Freebirds. 1984. In the Hulk Hogan era, one of his main rivals.
Piper.
Impeccably capturing his famous mustache and ring attire.
Rude.
No.
What?
Earlier than that.
Earlier than Rude. Superstar Billy Graham.
And his custom boots as well.
Oh, Sheik.
Correct. The Iron Sheik.
Okay, there we go.
2012.
Okay, so that, okay.
Elite Series 19.
Okay.
Uncanny likeness of the bearded grappler, marking the point at which his facial hair was just beginning to overtake his head.
Daniel Bryan.
Correct.
That's what I thought it was.
2013. Okay, 2013 figure. Let's see. His likeness is proportional and huge when compared to other toys. Sole accessory is his t-shirt. However, the tattoos, monstrous facial expression, and modern ring gear are so accurate.
What was the year again?
So it's obviously someone really big because they're saying they finally got his figure to scale. 2013.
Okay.
Multiple time champion.
Mark Henry.
Dominant.
Big Show.
No.
Great Khali.
No. 2013. So he came back to WWE in 2012.
Tensai.
And put the entire locker room on notice.
Brock Lesnar.
Correct. Very good.
Nice.
17 is from 2006, and it's one wrestler dressed up as another wrestler.
Okay. Shawn Michaels is Hulk Hogan.
Correct. I did not know that was a thing.
I did.
It's a creepy looking figure, actually. I'm looking at it right now. Number 16 from 1991. Let's see what we're going to say here. It also featured a Gorilla Press slam motion, white trunks, different colored specific logos, and face paint to match. Logos, face paint, Gorilla Press slam. Gorilla Press.
Oh, Warrior.
Correct. Finally, for this week, from 1987, it is a commentator.
Monsoon.
No, it's this person's very first action figure.
Jim Ross.
Before his role drastically changed to becoming an on-camera character.
Oh, Vince?
Correct, Vince McMahon. I didn't want to say, like, he owns it. That would be too easy.
Well,
But
he
anyways,
doesn't now.
I don't know how that went. How did you think that went?
That's interesting.
Okay. So you want me to finish it out next week?
Mm-hmm.
It's just hard to try and not give it away. Anyways, we will try again next week. But for now, we're going to switch gears back into talking about some of the week's wrestling, what we liked, didn't like, or anything notable, really, in what we like to call high spots and Restholds. All right, so I guess you're going to start out with Raw.
I just did the draft.
That's fine. And again, I don't know any of these. And
I'll save that for last because technically it's on SmackDown and then it's a bunch of stuff.
It might not be great radio because I don't really care that much because, as I said, they never actually follow their brand split anyway. So
I'll go off the basis of assuming that they will.
Okay, that's fine. Sorry, are you?
So I'll save that for last because technically it was SmackDown.
Do you want to save it for the end?
That's all I got. It's because that was a bunch.
That's fine. So I'm going to talk NXT. And my note says Jack was in the room for most of NXT this week. So let's see. A rest hold for me, and I know you watched this or were there for it. You maybe second screened it, probably is the most accurate description, right? It was the opening match. Do you remember what it was?
No.
Tag team. First ever match. Come on.
The mixed tag?
First ever trunk match.
Right.
It was Stax and Tony D'Angelo ended up defeating Pretty Deadly in what was billed as the first ever trunk match. So they had some old classic car, guess that's redundant, classic car that you had to, because it had a big enough trunk to fit two grown men, I guess probably was the main reason. So you had to get them in the trunk and slam it to win. I found it to be a very generic weapons match, and I thought
I hated the placement of the trunk because that was
They had to leave.
It's out of view of
Yes.
the fans. It's like they came back and celebrated.
It was definitely a fast pace to it. I didn't think there was anything really innovative or super interesting. I don't think it was bad, and I guess it held my interest, but nothing more than that, really. I can't even think of... So this was basically a no DQ match, right? And I think the only spot that I remember was Stacks.
I don't know why they had a pool.
A kiddie pool with, play balls, like the ball pit balls in it. So the only thing I remember is Stacks running full speed into a chair set up in the corner after one repeatedly moved. That looked good, but nothing else really I remember. So you basically, it's a 12-minute match, and then Stacks and Tony just throw Pretty Deadly into the trunk and close it for the win, right? And then later on in another segment I'll talk about now, they are driving along. They hear sounds coming out of the trunk. So Stacks pulls over and slams the trunk repeatedly, in theory knocking them out or whatever again, I guess. And then they drive off, and I think it was to end the show. Did you see that? The murder?
Yeah, they drop them. Well, they'll probably get called up, right?
That's right. They dump them in the river and kill them, I guess.
They'll be reincarnated as the gruesome twosome.
Not quite as clearly or graphically as Eric Young was murdered by Diener, but a murder nonetheless. A double murder even. So... And yes, I'm assuming that this is them being written off of NXT, because how could they not be, and then show up on main roster. So did not really love the match. I thought it was a pretty generic weapons match. Something I liked was a backstage attack and beatdown where Dijak just viciously attacked Dragunov and did that spot where they end up slamming a garage door on Dragunov's midsection, right? So I thought it looked good, and this is a much more effective way to use Dijak for me than having him speak and cut any sort of lengthy promo. So I still wish the Terminator look would go away. You hit that mic a few times. It is bulky compared to other ones we've used. But I like the beatdown, and the match between these two should be really good, right? Dijak Dragunov, I think we get next week, or coming up anyways.
So
Highspot.
Maybe it will be next week, because I've heard they might want Dragunov up.
Oh no, not yet. That's one of the NXT 10 that I love. A Highspot, I think...
One of them's already gone.
I think Duke Hudson continues to shine in character work now as part of Chase University. So there's a brief segment where he's just trying to hype up Andre Chase before Chase faces Braun Breaker. And I think Hudson sounds really good and is kind of outshining Chase at this point. And I get that it's just mid-card comedy stuff pretty much, but you got to have that on a show, and I think he's doing a really good job in that role. But then the match coming out of this, I thought was a rest hold for me, as Braun squashing Andre Chase.
I don't think I remember that.
So Chase got in a little bit of offense, but then it's the Gorilla Press Slam, and I believe it was the Steiner Recliner.
Yeah, okay, I remember that.
Right?
Yeah, because he didn't, that's the heel, don't break... Well, he's meaner than evil, okay?
That is, I had a note of that. Meaner than evil is Braun's new catchphrase, which is
It was
awful.
on the back
of his tights. Yeah, awful. So I don't... It's a bad catchphrase, but so I don't think the match was terrible. It's just a squash, but and I guess it's part of the Hudson Chase storyline, maybe, and I guess it's just, hey, Braun's a heel now sort of thing. Just 2 minutes, but anyways. Another thing I didn't really like, and that was Valkyria taking on Cora Jade. So this was a feud that was teased a long time ago, and then Jade was out for a while, and now we're back to it. So I thought Valkyria looked pretty good. Her kicks look good. She did basically almost a locomotion Northern Lights. She did, I think, 2 revolutions of it. And then had a fisherman suplex that looked nice. And I thought Jade did almost next to nothing, and then hit a chop block and the double arm DDT, which I don't think's a great finisher.
I don't understand the whole, she used the bat as a distraction, which is fine, but she didn't even cheat then.
No, not really.
It was a chop block.
Yeah.
Just actually cheat then.
A cheap shot, but nothing illegal. So Jade wins.
Cheap shot, not a cheat shot.
Jade wins in about 8.5 minutes. And I have read recently that officials are really high on Cora Jade and think that she could be called up soon. I don't really see it. I think she's decent, but I think she needs more time.
I think her partner is much better.
Her partner is much better?
Yeah, she's with Breaker.
Oh, okay. Another thing I liked was a solid championship match, but again, not placed as a main event, which I thought was strange, right? So you're kind of telegraphing the winner of this, right? So I thought the start and the finish I didn't really love, but I thought the middle portions were quite good, and I ended up liking the match overall. The elbow drop through the table looked very good, right? And both of these guys have a really bright
Did we
future.
specify what match this is?
Sorry, Waller and Carmelo Hayes. I said championship, but not which
I
one.
got scared because they put out a new theme for him. It used to be called The Greatest, and now it's called Mellow Don't Miss.
Yeah.
But it's the same theme, I think, just cut shorter. But thankfully, it is the same because when I
It
saw
works
a
for
theme
him.
with a new name, I was like, oh no.
No, his theme
It's
fits him.
perfect. I
Yeah.
love it.
So after the match, Mello cuts a promo, and I guess we're getting Braun Breaker again because he demands to face him one more time. So I thought
even better, it's wasting the pay-per-view slot too.
True. I thought the finish for this kind of came out of nowhere with, in the moment I thought so, and it turns out I was right that Waller did injure himself going for that rolling cutter, because then it was just like a kick to his face and Mello's finisher after 12 minutes, kind of out of nowhere, right? So apparently Waller's hurt.
Confused how he injured himself, but
Yeah, I didn't see it either. But sometimes it's like even when I did my Achilles, right, I was just running. It's not like
or
anything.
sometimes it's like Indy Hartwell where you can totally see it.
Yes, yeah, that was crazy. We'll get to that.
The two injuries, one of them you notice, one of them you don't.
I thought we got another solid babyface promo from Roxanne. She basically she was a kid loving WWE and she wants to be a role model for girls like her and so you get footage of her as a really young fan again, proof that she's always loved wrestling, which is cool. And she's going to now wear bows in her hair to symbolize her connection with young fans. So I don't think she's like amazing yet, but she's already very good at babyface promos when they have trouble finding legit baby faces. So like bright future, like
she should probably get called up before Jade. Like
I would think so. I
know
think
if
she's
they're
more
on.
polished than Jade in ring and on the mic. I prefer Roxanne. The mixed tag match, I actually liked parts of it. And I put Jack got to watch a complete summary of this several month-long story. Remember
that was beautiful.
They ran through the whole everything for you. So I did have a few issues with the match. There was one spot where Kiana James is absolutely dominating Fallon Henley, but decides to tag out, which in a mixed tag match means she's also bringing in the fresh male competitor.
Yeah.
So that didn't make sense. But I thought some of the action in the middle was pretty good. I thought Briggs and Jensen were really physical with each other. I thought that came across well. And then just the finish of this I thought was strange too. I'm trying to remember specifically what the finish was.
I know, I'll know it when I hear it. But
And then storyline wise, right, this went at a snail's pace for months, and then to Mach 5 near the end here, because we already had Jensen turn and they're united a week apart. James is already dumping Jensen for some reason when it took them months to get together, right? And she's even going as far as like, I never loved you, etc., etc.
Why put him through the ringer?
What was the end game, right, of this relationship? I don't.
And like Callahan, I never wanted to be in the design.
And we still have a loose end of this whole Sebastian thing, right? So that maybe we're not done. I don't remember.
I can't imagine you are, knowing your luck.
Oh, the finish was the attempt to cheat with the ref watching the whole time. Remember the bag is introduced?
Oh, yeah.
And the ref's just standing there watching it all?
Yeah, okay.
So that was the dumb part of it. But anyways, I liked the middle part. Another thing I liked was Dragon Lee got a quick segment and spoke a little bit. The promo wasn't anything special, but I'm just happy because it's setting up a Heritage Cup match between Noam Dar and Dragon Lee, which should be
nuts.
sweet.
I would watch that.
Right, so that's something I'm looking forward to. Oh, Resthold, you definitely saw this because we laughed and laughed. What did we laugh and laugh at that we were not supposed to laugh and laugh at?
I don't know.
And you said, quote, I could do this in Photoshop. Do you remember? It was good old scripts.
Oh, yeah, that was so bad.
And I said, this is almost a high spot for all the wrong reasons, as Jack and I laughed pretty hard at this.
It looked so dumb and it sounded
so
dumb
cheesy.
too.
So cheesy visuals and then just terrible phrasing, right? And then the use of the voice changer, which I think he dropped by the end.
It was better because it wasn't like that weird, like, deep, distorted voice.
And I think they dropped it by the end of this, and it was just his voice, but just laughable, right? And it's all ahead of a match with Axiom, which I love Axiom, so he better win. If Scripps beats Axiom, I'm going to be pissed. I'm not going to lie, because why? There's no reason for that, but anyways. And then just notable is Sol Ruka got attacked, and we don't get it's through like frosted glass, so we don't know who did it. And apparently she is injured. I think she's torn something in her knee, so that's the write-off of her, obviously. And then you watched Oba Femi?
Yeah, a little.
Who Booker couldn't get his name correct. So he's huge. He's a big dude, obviously. And he seemed a little less raw than some, although I wasn't super impressed, but we'll see. And then I did not enjoy. I think you saw Gigi Dolan's promo. She grabbed Vic Joseph's
That
headset.
wasn't great.
No. Basically something about she's gonna bring her brother next week and make JC Jane's life hell. So I don't think she was as bad as sometimes, but she's still not good. And there's just no heat with this feud, right? This is supposed to be a bitter feud between two longtime friends and tag team partners, and there's just nothing there that I care about. So, anyways, and the main event, I also had some problems with, and I don't think it's their fault. You watch this. This match was kind of thrown into chaos. I like this leg injury to Hartwell looked devastating. Like they replayed it. I watched it in slow motion.
Crumpled under her.
Folds underneath, a la not quite
Both
Psycho
of them.
Sid, but close.
That's probably the closest thing I've seen to it.
And somehow, like, so then obviously they had to call an audible, and it was just Roxanne and who was the other one? Oh, Stratton in there, right? So maybe they're not quite experienced enough to have to completely change the flow of what's going on in this match.
Yeah.
So, and also like the crowd was completely taken out of this. They were standing, some of them with their hands over their mouths and hands on their heads, watching medical personnel deal with Indy because it looked awful, this injury. So I was shocked when she came back, right? So she does return, but she can barely put any weight on the right leg. Stratton hits her moonsault to Roxanne, which I'm not sure she was supposed to because it looked like Indy was supposed to knock Stratton off the top, but just couldn't get there in time. And then
she did like an awkward pin.
Yeah, she has to position Roxanne very awkwardly, right, to allow Indy to pull Stratton out of the ring, and then all Indy can do is hit like a pretty weak-looking lariat to the back of Roxanne's head
Almost
to
better
retain.
than Cross, though.
But like, true, it's very similar. So the match was a bit of a mess, understandably, right? Since the injury, things looked awkward, and the injury looked awful, sucked the energy out of the crowd. And the other two performers, I think you have to be worrying about the other person, right? Because
she got drafted, which I told you about,
yes,
remember, she was in a boot.
Yeah, it makes sense because there's no way that wasn't a serious injury, and full marks for her for toughing it out. But it definitely affected the match.
It looked rough at the end for sure, like she was like limping and stuff. But at least she props to her for doing it. Still.
That's crazy, and so I didn't enjoy the match, but it's understandable why it was a bit of a mess, right? So that's that. Impact, switching to that. Just a general high spot to contrast AEW is their commitment to women's wrestling and women's storylines. This had 3 women's matches on the show and multiple women's segments, and I'm not saying I liked all of it because I didn't, but at least they are trying to make the Knockouts division a legitimate part of the show, right? So that's just, hey, AEW, like you can have multiple women's stuff on your show. It's fine. High spot I thought was the opening match. It was Grace and Masha Slamovich opening. It's their 3rd match against each other.
We didn't talk
Impact.
about it in the news, but Naomi's going there, right?
Yeah, Naomi is coming there.
Sure.
The crowd I thought was pretty dead for this, and maybe because I'm guessing this was a lengthy...
Is this the one that's still in Rebel?
Yeah, so I'm guessing this was like hours 3 and 4.
When would this have
Do you know what I mean?
Maybe it was after the Fallout show?
I think they did taping like probably 2 episodes at once, and that would explain some of the energy.
Do you think they did after the Fallout show? Because
could be.
I didn't see any separate tickets for tapings, and then we didn't get any tapings.
No,
either.
there was separate. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
because
but I mean like a separate day.
Yes, from when we went. Yes.
Yeah, but there's like the Fallout.
They might have done
the
it
day
all.
after.
Yeah, they might have done it all in one shot.
I'm saying they would have done it after the Fallout show, because they do those untelevised like
yes
Fallout shows after pay-per-view. I think they probably did it that day,
and so that might explain the crowd energy.
Because when we went to TV tapings, it was a whole separate thing. That's what I'm saying. I don't think they did that.
But we were there for multiple episode tapings at once.
Right, and I think they did that after the Fallout, and instead of like doing like pay-per-view Fallout and then like another day for tapings, I think they probably did it. So after Fallout.
Probably an exhausted crowd is what I'm guessing. Definitely wasn't at the level of their last women's standing match, because that was my women's match of 2022, but still a very good TV match to start the show. Jordan Grace won, which I don't love. She's won every match against Masha, and so it was a series of attempted roll-ups, and then Grace eventually holds her down for the fall. I think Masha needs to get wins. For me, she'd be the heel challenger for Purrazzo if they're keeping Purrazzo as a face, but she did not win. Something that I did not like in ring was Champagne Singh taking on PCO. So a simple, unspectacular match to get PCO a win, because he is our next challenger, right, for the world champion.
Yeah, pay-per-view too.
Right. So just PCO did his standard stuff, the animator and his stuff off the top where it looks like he's just trying to survive. And Singh's the cowardly heel, right, trying to buy, because he's the richest guy in wrestling or whatever, so he's trying to buy PCO off at one point, but nothing exciting. Another thing I was not a big fan of was the Coven had a segment. So Taylor Wilde was going to take on Perazo, challenging for the championship in the main event. So this is them casting a spell and doing tarot cards with a photo of Perazo in the background.
Doesn't Cross and Scarlet do the same thing?
Basically. So yeah, just spells and tarot cards, so not my cup of tea, didn't like it. Swinger got his first win, but I didn't think there was any point to this. It was Zicky Dice coming out dressed as a luchador, El Generico, which was the funniest part of this. And he...
Why? What does that mean? Oh, because it's just like
he's
El
Dice.
Generico?
Yeah,
Oh.
Dice and Generico. So basically, he allows Swinger to roll him up really quickly for the win. Just low-card comedy fodder, and I guess it was really fast. And then Santino, of course, to keep the story going, stripped Swinger of the win since it was Dice losing on purpose. So the big thing was Swinger finally got his first win because he's on the way to 50. If he can get 50, he gets a title shot. But it gets stripped, so he's back to 0.
Wait, first
Win.
So how's he gonna get to 50?
Well, he's not now. That's been the thing, is if he can get 50 wins, then he gets a title shot. But he literally loses every match in some comedic fashion, basically. Kenny King, who I don't generally enjoy, I have been liking lately. I feel like he's been a high spot for me a few times. But he is playing this like bitter, talented, but overlooked wrestler, and I kind of am digging it. So this week he's backstage with Sheldon Jean. And King's like, oh, I've heard good things about you, and even heard people say that
Sheldon Jean's the pre-show guy.
You're a young Kenny King, right? We saw him. And he advises
Crazy Steve.
He advises Gene to keep his head on a swivel, and I don't know if they're setting up like an alliance and a mentorship or whatever, but I've really liked Kenny King. It's kind of like, I'm awesome, you all know I'm awesome, they just won't focus on me for whatever reason, and I kind of like it.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got a solid TV tag match. It was Ace and Bay defeated Khan and Angels. I don't even know if it was actually for the titles or not.
I don't think so.
There was solid action throughout. For most of this, I mean, Khan's obviously a weak spot, but you can hide him with 3 other really good guys in the ring. There was an awkward spot where he kind of like fell on, I think it was Austin, and I was worried if Austin was hurt. Or no, it was Bay, and he was out of the match for quite a bit, but he did end up coming back. Anyways, Ace and Bay won with their combo. What is it? Art of Finesse Fold?
Fold, yeah.
Which looks cool.
So, yeah, I saw Kevin Knight and Kushida won the junior tag titles.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
I kind of like Kevin Knight. He's pretty talented, I think. Death Dolls, didn't like it. Never will. Never do. Rosemary's speaking backstage to Jessica. Crazy Steve shows up. It's about going back to the undead realm or trying to get access to it. I don't know if they're trying to say they're trying to go get Taya back. And Crazy Steve's
she's not doing much.
No, Crazy Steve's basically like, you need to talk to James Mitchell. And Rosemary's like, oh no, he's trouble, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I don't care. I don't want this to happen. Rosemary's acting is so off-putting to me. But anyways, I did like a little vignette that Killer Kelly got. It shows highlights of the match at Rebellion, focusing again on how she loves pain and loves violence. And then she basically says that in that match, she found somebody as sick and twisted as her, that being Masha Slamovich. So she calls Masha the perfect playmate. So I assume we're leading to an angle there. And I just like the tone of Killer Kelly's stuff. I think it's really cool, and I think she's created a interesting character. I don't know if this is what she was doing before Impact, but it's what she's been doing since being here.
I remember what she did in NXT UK.
She didn't do a lot, I don't think. It was less. So this is more like a dark, I'm going to take a ton of punishment and not care sort of thing, and I kind of think she's really cool. I kind of hinted at this earlier. Kazarian had a sit-down interview with Gia, and it's broken into 2 parts. So this was the first part, and I really liked it. So he talks about his start in Impact. I think he was saying he met Scott D'Amore and Jarrett at like an indie show, became friends with D'Amore, and then was just, for the first little while, just invited back week after week, right? Eventually he was having like, I think a championship match with AJ Styles and just facing a whole bunch of awesome people. Then she asks about leaving Impact, and he talks about they just kept bringing in veterans with these giant egos who weren't interested in putting young people over, and then even showing Dixie Carter like, and that giving also, he's like, it wasn't just in ring, they were giving way too much power to these people outside of the ring, like Hogan specifically, right? And that they had no interest in pushing new talent, and that's when his contract came up, and they both decided it'd be better if he went elsewhere, right? So. And I think next week they're going to talk about him coming back sort of thing. So I felt like this was him being really honest and real. And as somebody, me, who watched TNA the entire time, basically, this is what I saw, right, and heard and read about, was that this is basically what was actually happening. So I kind of like that they're bringing this reality in. I don't know what the end game could be. Like, I don't know where you go with this, right? But I was really entertained and interested in what he was saying for the segment. We'll see what the end game is. I don't know, but I liked it in the moment. And then the final thing, I thought the main event was pretty good. It was Deonna Purrazzo successfully defending her title against Taylor Wilde. Solid, not spectacular. I thought the final few minutes of it were the best. Kylan King obviously is around and getting involved a couple of times, but end up with Purrazzo winning with the Venus de Milo, which I think is a cool looking submission hold. I just like the ones where the opponent can't even tap because both of her arms are like being bent back
you
behind.
Can't rope break either.
So I thought it looked good. And again, there was no chance Taylor Wilde was winning this, but kind of started out slowly, but by the end I thought it was pretty good. So a solid episode of Impact. Nothing fantastic though. All right, so talk to me about draft now.
All right, draft night.
Main roster
one.
business.
I'll have to talk about the other night next week, I guess.
That's fine.
Okay, so here's how I'm operating on this. I've organized it into Highspots, ones that I like, I think are good.
That makes sense.
Restholds, the ones I don't like, that I think are dumb or whatever. And then middle of the road, just other ones I don't really care about or I'm undecided on.
Like it. And I don't really know too many, so it'll be new for me.
We'll start with the good ones, I guess. And then,
sure.
Okay, so the first one I really like is Imperium going to Raw. Because I think that's fresh challengers for Gunther.
Yeah,
it'll keep his reign going great. So I think that one's really nice.
And I would like if
he's only been on SmackDown so far, right? And I guess the other two as well, right? Like maybe they'll face Owens and Zayn or something.
I would hope that the tag team portion get a little more attention because I think they're good.
I think at the very least for Gunther, that's like new people there.
Absolutely.
Like I really like that.
Give me anyone new against Gunther that's good, and I'm here for it.
Have a match with Cody because they have the Rumble history. So
that'd
be cool.
Someone we really like to watch wrestle with new people to wrestle is always good.
The OC to SmackDown Styles is back, so that's cool. I feel like Styles has been on Raw since like 2020 or something like that.
Yeah.
So I think it's actually a little different. Like he's been on there for a while, and then OC, I guess Gallows and Anderson, like there's new people, so I guess that also feels kind of different to me.
Do you know, have they been featured at all? Like what are they up to lately?
They haven't been featured that much because Styles got injured. So.
Right. Oh, right.
And also Mia Yim goes with them, or Michin.
Really?
She's in the OC now because of the whole Judgment Day Rhea Ripley thing. So now she's still in there. I don't know why, because it literally defeats the purpose of the OC name. But
someone reviewing might have been Smart Wrestling. I'm not sure, but anyways, they were talking about they feel like there's all this tension between her and Corey Graves, and that Graves can't hide it in commentary and is like mean to her on commentary. I don't know. They don't know why. They're just picking up on something. So is she getting away from Graves now by going there?
Probably.
Yeah, okay. Like Graves isn't there, right? Yeah, I think so.
I think SmackDown's Cole and Barrett.
I think so too.
And so then there's Bobby Lashley to SmackDown, which I think is cool because it's an actual change as well. Because I'm pretty sure, like, other than being on SmackDown to win the Andre Battle Royal, I don't think he's been on SmackDown since. Like he's come back. Like I feel like he's been on Raw. Like even like all the drafts. Like I feel like he's just been on Raw the whole time. So I feel like it actually is kind of different.
Yeah,
he's only on SmackDown for the Bray Wyatt segments and then the Andre Battle Royal.
But they didn't bring back whatever his group was, which I thought they should have.
Yeah. I don't think they're doing.
They kind of teased us and then.
I saw. I think Shelton and Cedric were in the extra ones, but I didn't mention it. Hold on, I'll look at that. But. That one's actually interesting because I don't think he's been on SmackDown like proper yet. So
yeah, that's fine.
I know they were eligible. I don't see them here, so never mind. I guess. Next one is I got Nakamura to Raw, which same thing for him. I feel like he's been on SmackDown since he came. I know he debuted on SmackDown 2017, and then he was SmackDown as US champion. He won the Rumble and challenged for the WWE title on SmackDown. He won the Intercontinental title while still on SmackDown. Yeah. Won the SmackDown tag titles with Cesaro. Like I'm pretty sure he's been on SmackDown the whole time.
Has he been doing anything lately?
He just came back.
And he's not affiliated with anyone right now?
No.
Okay, cool.
So I think that's cool because I don't know if he's actually appeared on Raw before.
Yeah, and just maybe they could focus on him too. I doubt it, but
I would. That's my hope. Maybe it'll help.
Can always hope.
Viking Raiders to Raw feels kind of fresh. Maybe they'll get some more prominence.
They're awesome. They need something.
Yeah, but their heel game is kind of dumb with Valhalla.
I agree. But in ring they're awesome. So figure something out and they just don't care about tag teams, right? That's obvious. He doesn't care about.
The last one I like is Zoe Stark to Raw.
She went, eh?
I'm a little worried she may get lost in the shuffle, but the women's division needs kind of a shot up in the arm. So
she's ready. They just need to keep her as a heel. She's way more interesting as a heel. Yeah, she's ready to go for sure. In ring, she's awesome.
I forgot to put it in here or at all, so it'll probably go in like the middle of the road. But I was mentioning like Roman Reigns to SmackDown is just like that's just kind of a given. Like,
yeah,
I don't really care where Reigns goes because like I don't know. So
he is always around.
Just gonna that is what it is.
Yep.
So the Restholds, these are the ones I think are stupid or weird or dumb.
Okay.
So first one is Bianca Belair to SmackDown. She's still the Raw champion.
Yeah.
So
belt swap.
Yeah, that leads me to think there's another
Kinda
belt swap,
telegraphs.
which I think is stupid because her reign's been so long, and that's how you're gonna end it. And also Ripley's reign isn't long, so that's how you're gonna stop her. Like, it just seems stupid. Then she's gonna defend the Raw belt against Zelina Vega. Like, I don't. It doesn't track.
No, I don't.
So
I
think
never
that's
liked them
stupid.
handing belts over.
Yeah, they've done that like every draft, like for at least like I think they did 2021, and then
Well,
they did it in 2020 as well.
If you're calling it the Raw, whatever, you're kind of boxed in and have to. If you just named it something else, they could just take that title
if the
across.
mid-card champions switch, then it doesn't matter at all, which
Exactly.
they probably will, because now I can't imagine both mid-card titles go on Raw.
No.
Next we have Indy Hartwell to Raw. I barely think she's fit to be NXT Women's Champion, let alone a main roster star. That just doesn't seem right to me.
It's interesting that they're choosing the champion to go, right? And what is that? Just a title vacate and
I guess
tournament or something?
I
Bring
don't
me
know.
a tournament. I'm fine with that.
I guess.
Good for her. She's been in NXT a really long time, and it's either like she's at that point, I think, where it's either you're going main roster or they're going to cut you.
I guess.
Right? So that's good for her.
One I really hate is Cody Rhodes to Raw, and that's simply because Roman's on SmackDown. So that means they're on opposite shows, and he can't finish the story, which makes Mania especially annoying because they could have just done that.
They could have done it.
So I think
Should have
that's
maybe
really
done it, I don't know.
annoying because this is the exact now like he could win the World Heavyweight title, which is the exact opposite of what should happen.
Yes.
And then the last one I don't think I like is JD McDonough to Raw.
Oh.
I fear for his safety.
Oh, 100%. He's
Yeah.
too small.
That just
and
randomly got announced in the extra pick, so yeah.
He's kind of small and weird looking, so unfortunately that really matters
Unless
to Vince.
Dragunov goes with him, I guess that's a little.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
I'm
surprised they'd want him on the main. Even
and
Triple H to.
I'm hoping it's because like his character work has impressed them, because this creepy like I've really enjoyed the stuff he's been doing in NXT. Now who knows, they might just give him a whole new, now you're a comedy character or whatever, but yes,
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous about that one.
I'm afraid.
But he's awesome.
I'm afraid of
So
that. Yeah.
hopefully he's just undeniable.
Yeah, so now we got the middle of the pack ones, which I don't think are super interesting, but so I'm like kind of torn on. So I got Alba Fire and Isla Dawn going to SmackDown.
The champions also.
I think it's good for the main roster's women's tag division because
For
they're
sure.
somewhat legitimate.
They are.
But I also kind of think Fire is the one that's ready and less so Isla Dawn, and also they're still champs, so I'm not sure if I like it or not.
Yeah, I'm happy for Fire because again, like she didn't really need to be in NXT at all, in my opinion. She's awesome. And it's one of those things, if they're not calling her up, then it's going to be like they either release her or say you're now a trainer, right? And your in-ring is done. So I'm happy she's getting a shot. I think Dawn's good too. And yes, they're actually a tag team in a division where you have belts, but not really tag teams. So watch, they'll split them as soon as they get there or something.
A couple separate picks that I just kind of lumped together. Becky Lynch and Miz going to Raw because like they've already been on Raw for like a while, and it's not really a change, so it doesn't really matter. Street Profits to SmackDown, like I like them, just they were on SmackDown. I remember them being on SmackDown after the 2020 draft because they did the tag title swap with the New Day.
Right.
So like it doesn't feel like a huge change to me. Same goes for Edge because I still remember his feud with Reigns and Rollins fairly recently. Like that was like less than a couple years ago, maybe like a couple years ago now. Damage Control to SmackDown, which like they've never been on SmackDown together, but Bailey was for a long time. Cause remember she had that monster run. With Sasha, and then B, I just don't care about the faction that much anymore.
Unfortunately, because they're all cool, but
they debuted, that was awesome, but
they've been written into obscurity.
Yeah,
kind
I
of.
just don't care now.
I agree.
Matt Riddle to Raw. I love Riddle, but I feel like his situation's weird because I feel like he was technically a Raw guy, but then he just was appearing on SmackDown because the brand split has kind of like gone defunct before the draft.
Yeah.
And so he's just been on SmackDown to deal with the bloodline, but now I feel like this is kind of like Miz and Lynch, where it's just like he's going back to the brand, less than like he's changing shows, even though he's been on SmackDown.
True.
And then most of the additional supplementary picks are interesting. Loomis, LeRae, Maximum Male Models, Cruz, Natalia, DeVille and Green all went to Raw.
Are they
None of those
putting the
interest
way
me.
all together on the same show or no?
I haven't heard about Gargano yet.
Yeah,
but,
me either.
I guess so. Yeah. Other than
Maybe we're rebuilding.
well, actually
the way.
no, because Theory's probably got to go
I
to
forgot about
SmackDown.
him.
So I guess not. And then Hit Row and Lacey Evans to SmackDown. Like,
Who cares?
Exactly.
Inconsequential.
Yeah.
I would suggest.
Honestly, the most interesting one from the extra picks they randomly announced was Jaden McDonough, because like
Yes.
I saw he posted that and I was like, what?
Yeah, I'm worried about him, but here's hoping.
Yep.
All right, so you did say you have some figuring stuff.
A little bit.
So let's talk about that in our final segment that we call Figuring It Out with Jack.
So I just saw like some new images for Ultimate Editions posted. There's a Legends Ultimate Rock, which is I think is kind of a re-release of the one he had in Ultimate 6, but now it's got the butterfly joints. He's also got that tracksuit he wore a bunch in like 99 or something.
Yes, there were rumors he was having work done and was staying covered up.
Yeah, so you got the cloth bits too to do that, which makes it different from the other one at least.
Yep.
Then there's a couple of Walmart exclusive. I think the Ruthless Aggression ones. So there's Rey Mysterio
Dumbest era.
from Mania 22 with the giant headdress when he won the world title.
Holy. Giant headdress is correct.
Understatement.
Maybe even, yeah.
Yeah. So that's cool. The gear is pretty basic, but the rest of it's nice. And then there's Eddie Guerrero in red tights, but he looks like, I don't know why they use like the Cena rock torso. Like that's huge.
Yeah, he was pretty jacked and pumped full of roids at one point, I'm sure. Allegedly.
His chest wasn't that big.
No.
Though. Like he looks like All Stars Eddie Guerrero, from that.
Yeah.
Like
where they're
that's a little nuts.
Yeah.
So I don't. But like the scans and crap are good, I guess. Then there it is. Okay. Then the other stuff from Ringside was they put out new images for the dog collar 2-pack, which was MJF and my favorite chummy old
Chicago-made Punk.
Yeah, but it looks pretty nice. The dog collar looks like an actual. I want to get that because I want a dog collar.
And is Punk bloody?
They're both bloody.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because it's the blood and guts.
I like that. Makes sense.
Yeah,
all
like
blood, no guts.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's cool. Then there's Ultimate 17, which is the new Rollins with that insane jacket.
That is a crazy jacket.
It's cool though.
Technicolor Dream Coat.
And it's that
Nice.
gear. I like that gear. And then there's Andre, which is like it's Andre. He's got like that hand shirt though.
Yeah.
Because his hands are really big.
They are really big.
Because he's Andre.
Like a frying pan, they say.
So then there's the Ringside exclusive Defining Moments Elites. There's the San Antonio Shawn Michaels with the San Antonio tights. I think it's from Rumble 97 when he beat Sid, whose legs are normal. Then there's Bret Hart in an all pink, which is different from the other all pink Bret, which is an Ultimate. This one's an Elite. It's from the match. I believe it's Mania 8 with Roddy Piper. If you remember that match.
Yep.
Intercontinental title. Then there's Mankind, and he's got the mask face, like he looks normal, but then he's got the tooth and nose bloody face, bloody mouth face, and he's got tacks in his back.
Good detail.
Because it's not at stores, so they can. That's why AEW does like the bloody figures
more violent, yes.
on ringside, because then you can just like people who want it, you can get it.
Makes sense.
It's not like it's like, oh, think the children, and that works well because then you have Torn Pet Cody.
Oh, that's cool too.
That's nice. I want them to release this figure in the normal line too without the bruises because I like the gear, but like, what if you don't want the bruise? You know? So like,
it looks like Darby Allin with body paint almost. That bruise.
Yeah, it's
cool.
And he's got like a bull rope too, which I think is interesting because I don't. Oh my god, you could do a bull rope match.
Amazing.
Nice.
The best.
Now I want that Cody.
And that's it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's wrapping up 145. You've got work, and I've got to go down to Mike's garage.
You just gotta.
It's funny. I've watched more hockey. All my friends in the street in the neighborhood are Leaf fans, and I don't care about hockey too much, and definitely don't care about the Leafs. But I go and watch to support friends and just hang out and have fun. And now they've bought me a Leaf shirt that I have to wear every time I go. So I do it for them because I'm hoping they. When I saw the Raptors win and how excited I was because I love the Raptors so dearly, and that's how they feel about the Leafs. So,
except that's probably not going to happen.
Being friends with them, I hope they get that experience. So tonight isn't that they can eliminate, the Leafs can eliminate the Lightning tonight. So we'll see if that happens. But so I'll be down the street, you'll be at work, and then we'll definitely be back here next Saturday to do this all over again for episode 146. So we hope to see you then. tell somebody about us, tell them to check us out, would be really helpful. We appreciate you spending any time out of your week to listen to us talk about wrestling and other nonsense. We'll see you next Saturday. Until then, take care.